everyone, this is your favorite talking eggplant, and today we're playing part 9 of Blackberry Honey. A lovely game where we play a maid who's having the absolute best time of her life. Not. So, let's get into it. Okay, so last we left off, Lorena was going to visit Taohua to visit her cat. What's his name? I already forgot. Oh, and I forgot to look it up. But Lorena was going to visit the cat. Just the cat. No one else. And I did leave it on a cliffhanger. So let's just see what happens. Was Taohua not there? Maybe this was all a waste of time. The knot of unease in her stomach started to recede. Lorena wasn't sure if she was happy or sad by this turn of events. At least she didn't have to face Taohua. She didn't know if she could. She turned, ready to depart when... Oh my! A soft voice called out to her. The door opened, creaking on its hinges, and there stood Lorena's unknowing tormentor. Oh, I think she knows. Is that you, my little Lori? Don't call me that. I'll take that as a yes. Now... Taohua's eyes roved over Lorena's body. Why are you still standing out there, silly? Come inside. Thank you. Lorena was ushered inside, and Taohua closed the door behind her with a dull slam. There was no escaping now. I didn't expect you to take me up on my offer so quickly, you know? Dude, her wall literally looks like chocolate. Well, Lorena swallowed. Her throat was dry. I didn't have anything better to do, so... I was the last resort. Your company is preferable to Pauline's, at least. I should hope so, too. You housemaids can be so catty. Speaking of which... Figaro, I think it was. Lorena glanced about the room, her curious eyes trying to drink in every last detail. Is Figaro here? Of course. He and I are inseparable. Look. Taohua crossed the room and sat on the edge of her bed, patting her lap with one hand. As if on cue, Figaro poked his head out from beneath her duvet and padded obediently towards his mistress. There you are. There's a good boy. Look, Lori has come to play with you again. Lorena leant forwards, hands resting on her thighs, and peered at the cat curiously. Hello? Taohua giggled. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but he can't understand you, Lorena. Shut up. You would rather sit in silence for an hour? I didn't say that. What a complicated girl. I'm afraid I don't understand what you want from me. Not one bit. I don't want anything from you. Just her company. Being in Taohua's presence was more than enough. With a soft sigh, Lorena took a seat on the edge of Taohua's bed. Though she had a room to herself, the older maid's lodgings were not particularly extravagant. Her room was a small one, tucked away beneath the rafters that sloped down so dangerously low one was in danger of bumping their head if they stood on their tiptoes. At least, a tall woman like Taohua would be. Lorena was in no such immediate danger herself, but the closeness of the ceiling still set her on edge. I'm assuming the maids, like the other ones, probably sleep in like the attic or something. The room was rather sparse. Tawa owned a few personal possessions. No loose ribbons for her hair, or pieces of jewelry, or hand-sewn comforters. There were, however, books. A small stack of them balanced on the floor by Tawa's bed. On Tawa's bed, there lay a gilt hairbrush with a thick handle and a pitcher of water. Is that for Figaro? Mm-hmm. I do love looking after my pets. You're far more doting than you look. Tawa shrugged. If I like something, I want to take care of it. That's basic human nature. I have wondered about that from time to time. My status as a human being. Well... Lorena shifted on the bed. Her skirts felt cool against her flushed skin. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. You are quite unusual. I know. I get that a lot. Does it bother you? My opinion is immaterial. But what do you think? I think a great deal of things. Then, what do you want? Oh my. This is becoming rather personal. Tawa prodded the tip of Lorena's nose with her finger. That, my little Lori, is a rather complex question. Just try me. Well... Tawa leant forwards, her voice dropping to a whisper. Right now, my little Lori. Yes? Tawa leant closer still. The tip of her nose almost bumped against Lorena's. Do you want to try and guess? There goes that creepy smile. Not very good at guessing games. And even closer. Tawa's lips were really pretty. They were soft and pale pink, like apple blossoms. There had been apple trees at Hartwell before Lorena had been thrown out in disgrace. The delicate blossoms that spread along the branches during the springtime were beautiful. Lorena had always liked them. A soft, fragrant aroma lingered around the older woman, of flowers and freshly brewed tea, orange peel, and bergamot, just like Lady Grey. It was dizzying. Right now, my little Lori? Yes? Lorena's eyelashes fluttered, her cheeks flushed pale pink. I want you. Huh? For a few moments, it felt as though time had frozen. Even Lorena's heart, secreted away inside her chest, seemed to cease beating. Her lips parted in a neat little O of surprise, like a fairy ring. Did Tawa really mean it? Was she just teasing? Lorena did not know. But she did know at that moment, Tawa looked incredibly, unbelievably beautiful. What? Tawa's lips curved into an elegant smile. Do you have something you wish to tell me? Lorena shook her head. Then, something you want to show me? She nodded. And what would that be? I never really properly thanked you for helping me all those times before, and I don't want to be indebted to you anymore, so, here. And with that, Yo, it's the fucking title. No, it's the cover image on the Steam page. And I just got an achievement. Oh, I can't even see what it is. You know, I'm kind of surprised it's Lorena making the move instead of Tahua. I always thought Tahua was going to be the one making a move on her. The smell of orange peel grew even stronger, almost intoxicating. Lorena's head swam. Tahua's lips really were soft. Lorena's fingers intertwined with Tahua, the palms of their hands pressed flush together. Lorena could feel her chest pressing up against Tahua's. They were so close. There wasn't a single inch of space between them. The taste of Tahua's saliva, the warmth of her body, the smell of her skin. It was more intoxicating than Lorena had ever imagined. Lorena didn't know how she managed to make her way back to the servants' quarters after that rather intense encounter with Tahua. She walked through the hallway on unsteady legs that threatened to give out beneath her at any given moment. The 16 steep steps she had to climb to her attic bedroom was a perilous trek indeed, even more dangerous than an expedition to the Arctic. Okay, so I was right, they do sleep in the attic. When Lorena entered her room, still clad in her maid's uniform, her hair rumpled and her cheeks pale pink, she looked so out of sorts not even Pauline could poke fun at her. But that didn't stop her from being suspicious. "And where on earth have you been?" "Oh, Miss Smith wanted me." "Why is your face red? You haven't been drinking, have you?" "Not the black fluid." "I'm sorry, what?" Lorena blinked at Effie, her curiosity momentarily trumping her confusion. "What black fluid? That's what I'm saying." "Oh, Lorena, you can't turn to the bottom of a bottle for solace. My Uncle Oscar took to the drink after the death of my Aunt Frederica, and he was never the same since." Lorena appreciated the concern, she supposed. But why did Lottie's concern have to be so very loud and so very Swiss? It was giving her a headache. "Don't worry about me. I'm fine. And I haven't been drinking, for goodness sake. Just Tahua's saliva, which was even sweeter than Lorena had allowed herself to imagine. Not that she routinely spent time imagining the taste of Tahua's saliva, of course. You look rather unsteady on your legs. Maybe you should sit down." Really, I'm fine. I think I just feel a bit of a cold coming on." And to further prop up her flimsy lie, Lorena coughed quite feebly into her hands. Ugh. Pauline pulled a face and shifted back in her bed, trying to put as much space between herself and Lorena's phantom pathogens as possible. "If you are sick, make sure you don't infect me. We don't want your diseases." I'll do my best." Lorena's head spun. Her fingers were trembling. So too was her heart. Maybe, she considered weakly, it wasn't a lie after all. Maybe she really was sick. She felt sick. Sick in the head. No. Sick in the heart. That's called heartache and butterflies in your stomach. Why had she kissed Tahua? What had come over her? What on earth would her mother say? Her mother... Maybe she should write a letter. That might make her feel better. Or it could make her feel worse. Knowing Lorena, it would make her feel worse. But she couldn't know until she tried. This is impossible. Lorena exhaled heavily and ran her hands through her hair. She looked over at the letter she had written, frowned, bit her lower lip. Struck through the last line she had written on her quill once, then twice, then thrice. Over and over and over again. The nib of the quill bled black ink all over the paper, obscuring her introduction. Dear Mother, Ethel, Mary, and Alice. And Lorena sighed again, crumpling the piece of paper between her fingers. This would not do. How on earth could she ever explain this? She didn't understand it herself, so how could she write it down in neat, pretty little words, and to her own mother, no less? Dear Mother, Tilly and I have become much closer since I last wrote you. In fact, we have become closer than I ever dared to imagine. No. Lorena moaned in defeat and buried her head in her hands. She was not simply close with Tawa. Lorena was relatively close with Ada, about as close as their schedules would allow, and Lorena had never felt a particular desire to kiss her. It was just not done. So not done. In fact, it deserved to be written in capital letters. I'm such an idiot. Lorena mumbled into her hands. Nobody replied. The other maids were fast asleep. If only Ethel were there, Ethel would have known what to say. Ethel always knew what to say. Though Ethel was only 15, their mother always said she was an old soul in a young body. Lorena thought it was a fair comparison. Ethel was popular with the opposite sex. She was a sensible sort of girl, good with managing finances and making ends meet, who would make an enviable wife. It didn't hurt that she was so very pretty. Prettier than Lorena. She probably had more experience than Lorena did. The baker's son back in Liverpool had been awfully fond of Ethel. As for Lorena, that brief moment she had shared with Tawa had been her very first kiss. Why had she done it? Maybe Ethel would have known, but Lorena had no idea how to ask. So you're asking for a friend. That always works. Lorena took the crumpled sheet of paper, just one failure out of many, and hid it inside her pillowcase with the rest of the false starts. There's absolutely no way that this could go wrong. Then she took another piece of paper and began to ponder yet again. Dear Mother, Ethel, Mary, and Alice, I hope you have been well. I have no idea what to say. The 28th of April, Thursday. It's no longer April anymore. Lady Constance was in a foul mood, and for once, Lorena didn't blame her. Lorena would have been in a foul mood if Miss Ingrid was her governess, too. Not that she'd ever had a governess. Her family was much too poor to afford such a luxury. But a governess like Miss Ingrid, with her eagle eyes and perpetually frowning mouth, did not seem like such a luxury. If anything, she was a curse. Well, if that's everything... Lorena set the plate of jam tarts down on the table with trembling fingers. The rim of the plate clinked against the wood surface. Though the sound was slight, the young maid still tensed. The atmosphere in the drawing room was oppressive. The curtains were open, allowing the warm, spring sunshine to filter through the air, but Lorena still shivered. There was something about Miss Ingrid's presence. Her white skin, her glacial tone, her narrowed eyes, that seemed to suck all the heat from her immediate surroundings. Is everyone else here not white as well? Or at least have white skin? Perhaps Lorena found herself pondering. She was a relative of Reverend Marner's. She asking if she was? Oh. If Miss Ingrid is a relative of the Reverend. That would explain a thing or two. Speaking of which, Lorena was not looking forward to church that Sunday. I suppose I'll be on my way now. As you should. A maid like yourself has no use here. I thought as much. Miss Ingrid raised an eyebrow. Her eyebrows were plucked carefully, and were just as slender as her lips. Almost non-existent. Did that require a response made? No, Miss Ingrid. Then do not speak when you are not spoken to. You are dismissed. Yes. Thoroughly browbeaten, the downtrodden maid turned about. She was ready to exit the drawing room when... Excuse me. Lady Constance's voice, impetuous as ever, cut through the air. It was so forceful it almost seemed to part the dust motes. Miss Ingrid may have excused you, maid, but I gave no such commands. Do you place more importance on her words than mine? Well, Lorena glanced at Lady Constance between her eyes. Her eyelashes. Unsure what expression to settle on. Apologetic? Embarrassed? Ashamed? Lorena's lips contorted themselves into a confused, complicated frown. Miss Ingrid is of a higher social standing than I am, so... And I am of a higher social standing than her. Isn't that right, Ingrid? That is Miss Ingrid, if you do not mind. Well, I do mind. Lady Constance glared at her new governess. Her eyes were challenging. Ingrid. If you push this too far, miss, I will have to inform your mother. Your mother? Inform her all you like. It makes no difference to me. If you have to talk to my mother about every little thing I do, it will only prove how incompetent you are. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? I, for one, would like to see Constance rip into this Ingrid lady. I have no cause to feel shame. You are the one who should feel shame, miss, for behaving like a child. What was that? You might be a lady, but you're still a young girl. You need to be educated to a satisfactory degree. Else those in your social sphere, I fear, will call you a dunce. Do you want that? Lady Constance gritted her teeth together, her eyebrows furrowed. You... How dare you? It is not how dare I, miss. How dare you? With all due respect, I am deeply disgusted by your conduct. You have been allowed to do whatever you want for far too long, but that will change henceforth. I will make you change, whether you like it or not. In case you have not realized, I am rather good at bending little girls to my will, particularly little girls like you, who think they're far more important than they really are. I am important. I come from a far richer family than yours. Wealth is immaterial if you are morally bankrupt. Those are high words indeed, coming from a governess. Oh dear. And now you are losing your temper. In front of a mere maid, no less. That is no way for a true lady to conduct herself. What do you think? Oh, Lorna hadn't been expected to be addressed so suddenly, especially not by a woman who seemed to regard her as some sort of chess piece, a pawn on the board. But even a pawn could become a queen if guided by the hand of an expert player. Was Miss Ingrid trying to use her as a bartering chip? Well, tell me what you think of your mistress, maid. Or are you so very subservient you have grown to fear a 12-year-old girl? Oh, that stung. How I'd already taken Lorena to task over this. She didn't want Miss Ingrid to join in. I must admit, it is hard to respect somebody when they're so frequently losing their temper. I doubt any of the maids truly see you as their superior, miss. And there you have it. This is how others see you. How does that make you feel, miss? Okay. She is kind of eating that up. Lady Constance's expression twisted. She looked outraged. I really, really hate you. Good. Then perhaps you will put some actual effort into improving your attitude. Try to prove me wrong. Lorena could not help but be impressed. Though she herself did not like Miss Ingrid, her method seemed to be most effective. More effective than Miss Ime's in any case. Perhaps with time, Miss Ingrid would even be able to shape Lady Constance into a decent human being. Unless Lady Constance killed her first. Okay, well, I'm gonna leave that episode right there. I feel like that's a good place to stop at for now. This episode will be like a little shorter, but so, like, we are getting somewhere. Pretty exciting. Yeah. I feel like Lorena has sort of a... Well, I don't know. The times that we are in, it makes sense that she would be, like, so confused about, like, how she's feeling and, like, why she did that. She's probably grown up being taught that, you know, only men kiss women like that or whatever. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. And like always, I will see you in the next video. Bye!